Good morning, students. Welcome to the first video on the poem Amanda, written by Robin Klein. The poem deals with the interaction between an almost teenage girl, not a newly teenage girl, and her mother. Now, nowhere the age of the girl has been suggested, nor which parent she is interacting with has been suggested. It's based on the interaction that we will have to deduce who they are. So let's start with the poem. Now, the poet Robin Klein, her full name is Robin McMaugh Klein, is a well-known Australian author of books for children. She was born on 20th February 1936 in Kempsey, New South Wales, and now resides near Melbourne. Her body of work includes the mistakes parents make while bringing up their children. It's good to discipline your children and to teach them the valuable lessons of life, but it is also necessary to feed to their emotional needs. Well, as I have always said, there are two quotients. One is the emotional quotient and other one is the intelligence quotient. So everyone feeds to the intelligence quotient, but nobody bothers about the emotional quotient of the person. Hence, this poetry or many other works of Robin Klein has dwelled on this matter, the emotional needs of a children. If the emotional needs are not met, the intelligence aspect of their personality doesn't come forward the way it possibly can. Now let's go through the poetry a bit. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. See the rhyme scheme? A, B, A. That is the rhyme scheme. It is about the physical posture of the child. Now, how does Amanda react to that? There is a languid emerald sea, whose sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifted blissfully. Right? Let's move on to the third stanza. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. Here, it's about her responsibilities. The mother is trying to remind her about her responsibilities. How does the child react to that? I am an orphan roaming in the street. I pattern soft dust with my hushed bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. One thing you must notice right from the first stanza. The first stanza is a normal stanza. Second stanza is in bracket. It is in parenthesis. Third stanza is normal stanza. We move on to the fourth stanza. Again, parenthesis. Now, this parenthesis is actually to distinguish between the mother's commands and the child's reaction to it. Right? Let's move on to the fifth stanza. Don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda? Will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you, Amanda? Now this is about her behavioral defects. And how does Amanda react to that? I am Rapunzel, I have not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I'll certainly never let down my bright hair. As it is, the child, we have already figured out the way mother approaches her child, and the way child is totally in a different world. And it's not a real world, it's complete make-believe world. A mermaid, an orphan, Rapunzel, these are all fairy, at least the first two, the mermaid and your Rapunzel. They are examples, they are from fairy tales. They are not real life character, or no such character ever existed. But the illusion is used to show that the child is in a completely different world. She is not really bothered about the world her mother is trying to grow up into. And the mother's final reaction, mother understood that the way her child is not responding properly. So she said, "Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You're always moody, Amanda. Anyone would think I nagged at you, Amanda." That way, the mother realized, I have been pestering her for too long, and that's why she is behaving so moodily. And mother doesn't want the world to know that she has been pestering her child. This is the poetry. We will take the summary, stanza-wise explanation of everything, but things that we have figured out so far. Instructions that Amanda did not like. Don't bite nails. Don't hunch shoulders. Stop slouching and sit up straight. Finish homework. Tidy the room. Clean the shoes. Don't eat the chocolates. Look in the eyes when being talked to. Don't sulk. Don't be moody. Not a single instruction of this is liked by Amanda. Or these are basically a list of the instructions the mother gave. I decided to list them down at one place. Now let's discuss about the desires of Amanda. To become a mermaid so that she could live alone at a peaceful place without any instruction. To become orphan so that she may not have any guardian to give her strict instructions. To be Rapunzel, she would be happy even in a place secluded and prison-like place, where she would be happy even in a secluded and prison-like place where she will not have anybody to instruct her. So she doesn't want to do as she is instructed to do. She wants to live her life on her own and to live as Amanda, not to live as a daughter of somebody. Now let's come to the first stanza. First couple, so that the pair could be understood. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. To which Amanda reacts, there is a languid emerald sea where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. Now let's see the explanation of it. One of the parents sees Amanda biting her nails. The parent tells Amanda not to bite her nails. She is also not to bend her shoulders and to sit up straight. The parent nags Amanda for sitting lazily with her shoulders bent into a stoop. But Amanda is lost in her own dreams. She imagines herself to be a mermaid drifting joyfully with the soft waves of the green sea. She imagines that she is the sole inhabitant of the beautiful sea and there is no one to nag or to disturb her. Contrast, you see. The mother wants her child to have a proper posture so that she is presentable. She is not criticized for not being disciplined enough to behave in a certain fashion that decent girls, we have an image of decent girls behaving in a certain way, and she wants to live up to that. While Amanda, to counter this, loses herself in her own make-believe world. She imagines herself as a mermaid who is drifting, flowing slowly with the soft waves of a green sea, an idle green sea, a lazy green sea, which the waves are small and motion is very smooth. And she imagines she is the only inhabitant. There is nobody else but her. And therefore, nobody would be there to nag or disturb her. This will be all for the first video. I'll come up with the second one very soon. Till then, all of you take care, be well and study hard.